Have you ever had a client who wanted you to write a script for a video you're shooting? There's nothing worse than staring at a blank page or a jumbled up mess of ideas while getting nowhere fast. I'll be the first to admit, I've wasted hours doing this, but thankfully that's all in the past. In this video, I'll walk you through the step-by-step process I use to generate scripts for commercial or client work using Google's Gemini AI. And be sure to save this video so you can use it as a reference later. I'm going to break this process down into 3 very simple steps, starting with step 1, which is brainstorming. What I've seen more often than not is someone going to an AI model and asking it to create a script without giving it detailed information. As a result, it generates something pretty generic and lifeless. To show you what I mean, let's see what it gives us using the following prompt. I am creating a 30-second commercial for a dental practice named Happy Pappy Dentistry, and they specialize in family dentistry. They are located in Springfield, Idaho. And this is what we get.
Looking for a dentist that makes everyone smile? Happy Pappy Dentistry is your family's friendly destination for all.
Honestly, it's pretty predictable, and this is why I've heard so many people say AI can't write scripts. They're feeding it generic information and are disappointed when they get generic results. So here's what we're going to do. Let's go to a business's website. I'm just going to choose a random one, and let's look for some information. I'll be putting all of this information into a plug-and-play document I've created specifically for commercial scripts. It's totally free, and I'll link it in the description so you can use it and follow along. First, we need to indicate how long our script needs to be. I have found if the final video is going to be 30 seconds long and you tell Gemini you need a 30-second script, it doesn't leave any breathing room for visuals. I recommend taking off between 5 to 10 seconds for a 30-second script and 15 to 20 seconds for a 60-second. So if our final video is going to be 30 seconds long, I would tell Gemini to give me a 20 to 25-second script, but play around with it and see what results you like best. Of course, we need the business's name, followed by what they specialize in. An important note here is the more specific you are, the better. This is a reoccurring theme with all AI models, not just Gemini, so always be as specific as possible. Then, we're going to go to the business's website and copy and paste their mission statement into the document. If they don't have one outlined, search for core values throughout their website. Or, if you're cool with the client, just ask them what the business's mission statement is and what their core values are. After that, paste the entire About Us page from their website, even if it's long. At this point, the document will begin to get a little messy, but that's totally okay because it's going to be copied and pasted into Gemini in its entirety. Next, if they have highlighted testimonials or reviews, paste them here, and I recommend 3 of them. If not on their website, they may have Google reviews, so check there as well and copy and paste the best ones here. Following that is what I've called script elements. These are any specific requests the client has given you in regards to the script. These can be specific phrases to include structure, etc. If the client hasn't given you anything specific, simply leave this blank or delete this section. Next, we have potential visual elements. If you've gotten that far in the pre-production process, add those ideas here. Again, be as specific as possible. If you don't have any visual ideas yet, you can leave the section blank or delete it. The next section we have is tone or mood. Examples of these are upbeat, energetic, inspirational, all that stuff. Tone is one of those things that can be slightly adjusted through Gemini after we generate the script, but more on that in a minute. Then, input any additional information that may be helpful for Gemini when creating your script. If there isn't anything specific, simply leave this blank or delete it. Finally, we have CTA. What is the client's desired call to action? After someone has finished the video or ad you've created, what type of action do they want that viewer to take? Examples include give us a call, set up an appointment, or even subscribe to the channel. Speaking of which, if you're a filmmaker or videographer looking to improve your skills, definitely consider subscribing to the channel because that's what we're here. And if you do so, I appreciate it in advance. That brings us to step 2, which is feed the machine. This is the easy bit because we just copy and paste the document in its entirety into Google Gemini and hit enter. It still blows my mind how quickly these things are generated. And after inputting the entire document, we quite literally have a full script in seconds. The third and final step is all about refinement. Even if you're not completely happy with the response you were given, I'm still willing to bet you have a solid place to start with your script at the very least. Now, before we move on, there are a couple ways to adjust the response we were given through Gemini. If we look in the upper right-hand corner of our response, you'll see a little drop-down arrow that says Show Drafts. If you click this, you'll see it generated 3 different responses for you to compare. This isn't always the case, but generally speaking, the first draft is a little more detailed and not as generic as the second and third draft. However, you should still check out draft 2 and draft 3 because you can always combine elements of all 3 together to create a script that's a little more cohesive. If you don't like any of the responses you were given, you can just hit this little arrow here and get 3 brand new ones. However, before you do that, at the bottom of your response, we have a couple more options. You'll see a thumbs up and thumbs down, similar to what you would on YouTube, and you should definitely give this video a like. And clicking on one of these will help Gemini learn what people like and don't like to improve its responses over time. To the right of that, we have 5 more regenerate response options, so you can make it longer, shorter, more professional, more casual, those kinds of things. There's also the option to share the response link directly, export it to a new Google Doc, or share the response in its entirety via email, which is a weird one, and I wouldn't really do that. Finally, we can copy the response and paste it wherever our heart desires. This is what I typically do, paste it into my working Google Doc, and delete the little scenes that it's created so it's just the script. Then I can take that and send it to a client for review. And there you have it, a fast and repeatable way to generate scripts for your commercial clients. If this video was helpful, please do me a favor and give it a like. Also, let me know in the comments if you're happy with the results that you receive with Gemini. As always, I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me today, and I'll see you again very soon.